Today we will talk about the changes to the National Occupational Classification that will be implemented in spring of this year. We'll also look at how the change will affect application, whether for workers or permanent residents.
How long are you going to be here for? I got concerns that she means taking unauthorized employment in Canada.
Before we discuss the changes, let's first understand what an NOC is. NOC stands for National Occupational Classification. The NOC is designed to provide a standard way of describing the work of Canadians. It is a system tool for understanding type of employment by describing duties, skills, interests, aptitudes, educational requirements, and work settings. NOC is maintained by Employment and Social Development Canada or ESDC in partnership with Statistics Canada. For the purpose of immigration, the NOC is used by IRCC officers to assess an applicant's qualifying work experience. It is also used by a variety of professionals like economists, business analysts, and career counselors. The NOC system is organized by matrix to show the relationship between skill types and skill levels, and codifies every occupation with a 4-digit code. If you are applying for permanent residence or as a temporary worker in Canada, the NOC codes will allow you to locate your occupational code and a description of the duties you perform at your job to demonstrate your work experience. The information in the NOC system is essential to applicants because the IRCC requires them to show that they have specific work experience requirements under the class or program which they apply. Therefore, for each job they wish to show that they have work experience, applicants must match it to the NOC code, to the duties set out in the lead statement, to a majority of the main duties, and to the essential duties of the occupation. This is the current matrix of the NOC 2016 version. They are categorized by skilled levels, structures, and broad occupational categories. These digits represent the first 2 digits of the NOC code. For example, these 2 digits, 63. The first number indicates the skill type, and the second number identifies the occupation's skill level. Combine these 2 digits define the NOC major group for all occupation with the same skill level and skill type. Let's take an example occupation to better understand. If your occupation is cook, your NOC code will be 6322. You can see that the NOC provides a lot of information about the occupation, such as titles, main duties, employment requirements, and additional information. These details can be used to determine whether someone is qualified to apply for a job or if the applicant experience qualifies them for the position. Let's look at this. These are the major groups and these are the minor groups. Using this information, you can determine if your occupation qualifies you to apply for permanent residence in one of Canada's permanent immigration classes. For example, in the Federal Skilled Worker class, the occupation must be skilled type 0 or skilled type level A or B. In Federal Skilled Trade Program, the occupation must be skilled level B, and in Canadian Experience class, the occupation must be skilled type 0 or skilled level A or B. If we take a look at our example occupation, we can see that this occupation is qualified to apply in one of the classes through express entry because it belongs to skilled level B category in the 2016 version of the NOC. Now let's see the new NOC version due to be implemented in spring of 2022. We will refer to the Government of Canada website, the link in the description below.
Employment and Social Development Canada (ESDC) and Statistics Canada work collaboratively to complete National Occupational Classification (NOC) updates and revisions. Historically, the departments undertook content updates every 5 years and structural revisions every 10 years. To establish the frequency of updates and revisions, the department strive to reconcile the need to keep the classification up to date with the ability to reflect occupational changes over time, while minimizing disruption to statistical coding and time series analyses. As part of continuous improvement, ESDC and Statistics Canada agreed to update the NOC on a more frequent basis following the publication of the 2016 version of the NOC. NOC 2021 Updates. Summary of changes. The National Occupational Classification (NOC) 2021 major revision updates the structural framework of the classification, rendering it more consistent, accurate, and flexible. To this effect, the first major change is the replacement of skill levels with the training, education, experience and responsibilities TEER categories. This new terminology is more precise, as the NOC assesses not the level of skills but the level of training, of formal education, of experience required to gain entry into each occupation, and the responsibilities associated to it. The second major change revolves around the number of TEER categories. In the new NOC structure, there are 6 TEER categories, up from the current 4 skill levels. In the 2016 version of the NOC, Skill Level B contains the most occupations of all skill levels, about 1/3 of all unit groups, and its employment requirements are relatively wide. This change ensures clearer distinctions between the employment requirements associated with each TEER category, leading to a more consistent and homogeneous classification. The new TEER categories are defined as follows. Tier 0, Management Occupations. Tier 1, completion of a university degree, bachelor's, master's or doctorate, or several years of experience in a specific occupation from Tier Category 2, when applicable. Tier 2, completion of a post-secondary education program of 2 to 3 years at community college, institute of technology or CEGEP, or completion of an apprenticeship training program of 2 to 5 years, or occupations with supervisory or significant safety responsibilities like police officers and firefighters, or several years of experience in a specific occupation from Tier Category 3, when applicable. Tier 3, completion of a post-secondary education program of less than 2 years at community college, institute of technology or CEGEP, or apprenticeship training of less than 2 years, or more than 6 months of on-the-job training courses or specific work experience with some secondary school education, or several years of experience in a specific occupation from Tier Category 4, when applicable. Tier 4, completion of secondary school, or several weeks of on-the-job training with some secondary school education, or several years of experience in a specific occupation from Tier Category 5, when applicable. Tier 5, short work demonstration and no formal educational requirements. The third major change is the structural move from a 4-tiered to a 5-tiered classification system. NOC codes will change from the traditional 4-digit format to a new 5-digit format. This new codification system is more flexible than the previous system and allows for the incorporation of many new unit groups in the future, as needed. It also ensures consistency in the numbering system. The new 5-digit NOC code is defined as follows. The first digit represents the broad occupational category, the second digit represents the TEER category, the first 2 digits together represent the major group, the first 3 digits represent the sub-major group, the first 4 digits represent the minor group, and finally the full 5 digits represent the unit group or the occupation itself. In addition to these major modifications to the structure of the classification, the new NOC 2021 led to a number of changes to the occupations themselves. These changes to the occupations aim at keeping the classification up to date with the evolution of the labor market. New unit groups were created for emerging occupations such as data scientists and cybersecurity specialists. Moreover, some occupations were deemed statistically sufficient to be granted their own unit group, such as financial advisors and police investigators, and the three distinct unit groups created for software developers and programmers. Finally, some sectors sustained significant renewal, notably the information technology sector, the health and agriculture sectors, as well as the postal services and the military occupations. The new NOC 2021 contains 516 occupations, up from the 500 unit groups included in the NOC 2016. Of those 516 unit groups, 423 have a one-to-one correspondence with a unit group from the NOC 2016. This means that, with the exception of the change in the NOC Code, these are exactly the same occupations as they were in the previous version of the classification. The table below details how the 516 unit groups from NOC 2021 were built. Unit groups with a one-to-one correspondence from NOC 2016 have 423 unit groups. New unit groups created from an existing unit group that was split to 58 unit groups. Existing unit groups to which part of another unit group was added 30 unit groups. New unit groups created from 2 unit groups merged together in 5 unit groups. Total of 516 unit groups. Finally, many unit groups have seen their list of associated job titles, main duties, and employment requirements reviewed in detail to ensure that they are reflective of those currently observed in the occupations.
Those are the changes according to the Government of Canada website. Changes are important for those who plan to submit applications in the future, especially those who qualify under the Skilled Level B in the current version of the NOC. The majority of occupation in Skilled Level B have been downgraded to Tier 3, which is equivalent to Skilled Level C of the current version of the NOC. For those in skill level 0 and A will mostly unaffected. The ultimate concern with this change is which tier will be considered skilled. If those downgraded occupations lose their skill status, they will no longer be eligible for express entry. So if you're in skilled level B, you might want to check whether your position was downgraded or not. It is anticipated that this change will be implemented in the spring and further information will be posted prior to that. So watch out if these changes favor you or not. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you understand this topic. I know the NOC is kind of complicated. Actually, a tutorial is available in the Government of Canada website about NOC. I will put the link in the description below.